This is where we're supposed to pick up this tour bus. This will take us out to Lake Union, and there we'll get on a boat and tour the harbor and out through the Ballard locks into salt water and come back to this spot. Downtown waterfront. What kind of ice cream?
Butterbrickle and huckleberry.
Huckleberry. Looks like our bus just pulled in. This will take us over to Lake Union on our boat. Isn't that interesting how small those cabs look? The true face of Seattle, huh?
The Skyrocket.
That Good Time 3 must be our boat, huh?
Must be.
What a great job. It is a pretty awesome job. I run 8 different vessels. Huh? I run 8 different boats. You do? Yeah.
Made 2 natural lakes. There's Lake Washington to our left, east of us, which is connected by a man-made canal. We could go there, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go west today to our right and go around that hill and around the Space Needle and arrive right back downtown where you purchased your tickets and boarded the Gray Line motor coach that brought you here today. And all the while, I've got a great crew to take care of you. I'm quite fond of them myself. Miss Sharon greeted you at the boarding gate. Sharon is currently my deckhand here. She's casting the lines for departure. And soon she'll be your host, tour guide, and narrator. She'll be on a microphone pointing out the sights. She is a lot of fun. She's also very knowledgeable about the area. So for those of you that live here in Seattle, hopefully you'll walk away with some new facts you didn't know before. And for everybody visiting from out of town, hopefully you'll walk away with a fine impression of our lovely city here. Lake Union here is also known as an international landing strip. That plane behind us might be going to Victoria. Then again, it's probably just doing a 20-minute tour around the city.
They're houseboats.
They're houseboats.
Yeah.
That's my best joke.
Look at that one.
Yeah,
That's
that's corner property.
No, locals playing tourist in your own backyard. I love it. You looked at your hand. Are you visiting from out of state? Whereabouts? North, central, south,
Nice. Lots of money.
central. So
I've never seen this before.
You haven't?
No.
I live right up there. See the little brick apartment?
Yeah.
It's just sticking up right up there. That's where I live. We'd walk down and look at it. There's way more of them here now.
We separate the state into 3 pieces.
You definitely have close
We've
neighbors.
got the homes here on our right-hand side. I'm sure someone's dying to ask
It
me,
wasn't
when
all
are we
these
gonna
big
shut up
ones.
and
It was
point
just
out
the little ones when I was
townhouse,
here. I
right?
didn't have the rich kids.
Believe it or not, we once had 2,000 floating homes on our waters lacking those luxuries.
Aurora Bridge.
The newer homes like
Called
those are not
Suicide
being
Bridge.
built on log rafts, but instead
Have you heard that name? A lot of people jumped off that dude.
Home is not allowed to be more than 2 stories.
We're looking at I-5 bridge over Lake Union.
With the open deck outer bow. This bridge, I think, has a really cruel joke associated with it. 167 feet clearance makes it the tallest bridge over the ship canal. If you compare that to the one in front of us, you have polar opposite. You have the shortest bridge. The Fremont Drawbridge only has 30 feet clearance, and the Good Time 3 stands 29.5 feet out of the water. So think heavy thoughts just to make sure. But here we go. Look up at the wheelhouse.
Now this is the canal between saltwater and freshwater of Lake Union.
There were so many salmon swimming through during the spawning season, it was said you could walk across Salmon Bay on their backs and not get your feet wet.
small family-owned and operated company. They have a little over 20 tugboats in operation. It's owned and operated by two brothers who purchased retired boats and turn them into tugboats. Now this is something that happens a lot to a retired working boat.
That front opens up.
This is the only bad thing about working on the water. Boats move, and you have to change your oar as you go. On our left-hand side, though, this never changes. Fisherman's Terminal. Fisherman's Terminal has a wonderful restaurant tucked up in there called Chinook's. I get absolutely nothing for saying this. They boast the fish is so fresh at this restaurant that even the fishermen eat there.
You can also hear the gate closing behind us. It's going to trap us in here as we begin to make our drop. They open up those spillway dams to make room for the snow melt and the Cascade Mountain range, precipitation, stuff like that. Keep the lake from getting too high there. They can feel us making our drop here. This works on a gravity-fed system. There are no pumps or hydraulics or anything. It's just gravity, which is pretty cool for those of you standing on the front of the boat. You can see the water rushing out on the other side of the gate there. There's just that small gap between the walkway and the top of the gate.
We have 20 stuff on it.
The nice thing about the design of these locks is they've been operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year since 1916. Fewer working parts means it doesn't break down very often. In fact, they only have to close down each chamber once a year for annual maintenance. The large lock tends to get closed down around Thanksgiving, which is always really fun for those of you that live here. Just when you have your family around for Thanksgiving dinner, that's when the large lock is completely empty. You can come down here and do something cool. And then usually the small lock is closed down just before the early spring, and they empty it out, collect all the things that people donate throughout the year.
Pretty cruddy.
Hundreds of
Salt water.
Wow, big difference, huh?
Yeah. Needs a good hose job, doesn't it?
The numbers.
Need more than that. That block
Yeah.
is tough.
Small lock we just
Seaweed
came
and
from
everything. Debbie can
150 feet
harvest.
long, 30 feet wide. Larger lock was designed to accommodate vessels up to 760 feet. Imagine that. We haven't seen a boat like that come through the locks in a really long time.
All right, thank you, Captain Karen. Loading docks, as the tide comes in, these docks will rise with the tide. Of course, with a low tide like today, be way off to the east are the Cascades, and these two mountain ranges kind of form the rim of a bowl.
Olympics are a little hazy, but you know, you don't often see the Olympics and the Cascades on the same day. This is a Bay Lighthouse. I think it's Westport or West Seattle Lighthouse. Beautiful city to come into by boat at night from the water.
It saturated the hillside and we lost 9 homes, almost the whole city block downhill in a landslide. Unfortunately, they knew it was going to happen. They had about 3 days warning, so no one was injured. But unfortunately, they lost everything because they weren't able to get anything out of their homes. This is that other marina I wanted to point out and talk about. This is the polar opposite of the Shilshole Bay Marina. This is the Elliott Bay Marina. We are in Elliott Bay now. This one is privately owned and operated, whereas the Shilshole Bay was port owned and operated. Shilshole Bay is the least expensive of the 77. This is probably the most expensive of the 77. That is our grain terminal. There are 68 silos there. The holding capacity is 4.2 million bushels of grain. Now, typically it can take as little as 72 hours to fill a vessel this size, but generally here in Seattle it takes longer because of the weather. Grain like rice, when wet, will expand, so whenever it starts to rain, they have to close the whole doors. It was built as the centerpiece for Seattle's Second World Fair in 1962, the 21st Century Exposition. And if you add one word to the name of the fair, you have the building's true name, Tower. So the Space Needle's real name is the 21st Century Exposition Tower. Believe it or not, they built it to tear it down. Yet it still stands. They built it a little too well, I think. But I'm happy it's still here. That is our official icon now. Here's an interesting view for you. The engine vessel is in the process of not only offloading its cargo and reloading the cargo, but it's in the process of getting fuel. These vessels are so large they cannot fit into the fueling dock. So tugboats will bring a portable fueling dock called a double-hull bunker barge. And that's why both vessels, or I should say all three vessels, the tugboat, the bunker barge, and the vessel being fueled, are surrounded by the containment buoy, because if anything were to spill, that will keep it, make it easier to clean it up. Tell which is the front end and which is the back end, but if you look closely at the top of the ferries, you'll notice they have two wheelhouses. The front looks exactly like the back. The cars always point to the front. And I'm going to leave you with that because we are coming up to our dock right now.
This is not like you can go anywhere else.
This is the party boat, right? Don't you go out? We do. It's a good time to do private parties and stuff. If people want to.
She said that extreme tides were 20 feet, and you can see that part of the tide level.
I guess, yeah.